Hey, what's going on, everyone? 9 of Off the Puck Hockey on the FHN network. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and you can catch Off the Puck on Rogers TV Channel 20 every Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can also view our live recordings on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Just follow at Off the Puck Hockey for dates and times and check us out. And this week, the boys got plenty to talk about, but first, couple of little things, little personal story. This is championship week. I've won all 3 of my coaching championships this week. Junior A, my college championship, UW, and the OMHAs for a little self plug. And my today we laid to rest my uncle Mike, who again we had guest Brandon Prust on side of things. So this is for him today. This is shows dedicated to Mr. Mike Giles. But today we got again Aaron Ekblad goes down with a crazy, awful leg injury. He is done for the season. We're going to talk about that. Are the Panthers going to be able to bounce back? Jack Campbell still undefeated for the Leafs. He looks like he's hurt again. So what are the Leafs going to do next? And of course, Ovi on an absolute rip right now has he entered into the Hart conversation. We'll talk all about that. But first, let's talk to the boys. We got Adam and Mikey Walks joining me. What's going on, boys? Yeah, good, boys. Good. How was the weekend?
Short, sweet, it's good. I had a little party there with my wife's family for the 1-year-old. He's turned 1 tomorrow, so
hey,
big old bender we had there on Sunday. But yeah, it was a good weekend. You?
Yeah. Make it entertaining. One NHL game, but please, so I'd like to welcome to the show from Two Harbors, Minnesota, Mr. Zack Fitzgerald. What's up, buddy?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, I'm pumped about this. I've been telling the guys about it since I met you, and them like, trying to get this guy on.
I heard lots about it, yeah.
That's a lot to live up to, fellas.
And we didn't know if you actually existed.
All right, well, let's do it.
Yeah, we had a few guys actually come through and talk about you. We had Marasti came on and talked about you. Who else? Who's your boy down there, Styles?
Penner.
Wow, those guys they didn't say my name. Come on.
They did. Go back and rewatch it. They absolutely did.
The nasty Marasti. Yeah, we locked horns a lot. I don't think we ever even dropped him, but man, he's an animal.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's quickly just dive into it right away. And I'm going to get some opinions first before we dive into speaking with you, about your career there, Fitz. But what are the Panthers going to do now? And actually, let's have you start with Ekblad. Like, what do they do? You're a defenseman. You played the game. Like, how devastating is that going to be for them?
Yeah, I mean, you lose one of the top dogs. It's huge knock, but you got a lot of guys that are eager for that position. They're going to jump in there and hopefully they can fill the position. And some guys might even thrive with it. You never know. They might have, I got my chance here. So you might see something like that happen. You might see everybody kind of bind together and become more of a core, or, you might see a guy that's picking up more minutes and really, really shine.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do. Styles, what about you?
That's a big one, man. With that team rolling, and he's one of the top dogs, eating a lot of minutes up. But yeah, like Zach said, there's guys that can step up, maybe eat a few more minutes up, kind of shine. Maybe a few guys that can take on minutes that you didn't know can. You'll find a little bit more in what you didn't think you had, kind of deal. But it's also the trade deadline right around the corner, so now it's kind of glad that he went down before it. So if you want to make a move, you can do it now. But
I'm hoping that my boy Keith Yandel, for fantasy purposes, gets a little more PP time.
Yeah, he sure will.
I haven't, no.
Yeah, don't worry. You don't need to see.
Seriously.
In the UK recently, and football or soccer is their game, and I always use the analogy that it was kind of like the babysitter. Mom, we had the outdoor rink, so it was cold enough for that. I don't know if it still is. I haven't been home for a while, but you go to the outdoor rink and you'd play, and you basically, mom dropped you off and played 7-8 hours all day long. Sometimes she worked in the warming shack and got the hot on that. My brother's 13 years older than me, so I always had somebody to watch. You Canadians, that's what we like.
That's crazy. Talk a little bit about Minnesota high school hockey and what it means, because I just quickly clicked on you wanted elite prospects, and you click on the team, and you're looking down, and out of that team, you're the only guy that ended up making it. You got some pretty damn good hockey players in there. But just quickly talk about like what Minnesota high school hockey is like. Skill level, players that move on.
Yeah, I think it's on the point you're saying that I was fortunate enough to make it out of there, but there was so many good players, and high school hockey is crazy. You would think of it like you're playing Bantams as like minor midget, and then you're stepping up to guys that are basically OHL age guys that are playing through high school and living the social life with all their friends, and then playing hockey on top of it is kind of like a university feel where you kind of, some kids are the big dogs in the schools, and like where my school, Duluth East, was one of the top teams in the north of Minnesota always. So they're always competitors for the state championship, and leading into that, that's one of the big experience for those guys. It's like playing in the NHL. I mean, you're playing in the wild. I broke through. I only played 1 year of high school.
Okay.
And it was a good experience. But when I was more in Bantams, I had gone up to Winnipeg. I think it was Winnipeg. Yeah, we used to go up Thunder Bay, Winnipeg all the time. Come up to Canada. You're 12, 13 years old. All the kids got beards. They're 6'4". You're like, what's going on in Thunder Bay? We're just down the lake, But I ended up playing a couple of games. It was Stonewall, just outside of Winnipeg, and getting fired up about it, just like step up for everybody, and that's kind of where the CHL or the WHL, CHL, I guess, stepped in, and the interest kind of my father started getting interested. Calgary Hitmen were interested, and then out of nowhere, Seattle Thunderbirds picked me up in the Bantam draft. So, long story short, I kind of missed a lot of the high school hockey, but I got to experience it once. We didn't make it to state. We lost to Cloquet, which is, oh God, that's hard to say. That's our rival, boy. You know what? But there's some big hockey players that came out of there. Jamie Langenbrunner came out of there. And yeah, you guys obviously know UMD Bulldogs. That's in my hometown in Duluth. I was born in Two Harbors. We moved up to Duluth when I was about 5. And, that's kind of where, high school is a legendary, and it's great that it's traveled around to you guys.
Nice.
I'd love to see some high school hockey here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, That's nuts. Yeah, the attendance to get it for high school games. That's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
And, it's great. It's great. Like I'm sure you watch the university games. You got your fellow classmates there that are just rooting around. They got the band going. People are just. It's great. It's such a good atmosphere. So it's so fun. It's a little bit different to where you got that. And it's like everybody's losing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about Seattle there a little bit, Zach. I just want to talk about with the NHL coming there. What was the hockey like back there, and like kind of the atmosphere and hockey vibe around it then? And do you think the NHL is really going to thrive there?
I think it will. I think when we played in the Key Arena, which is downtown. Hockey in general is, as far as growing up and youth sports and everything like that, is kind of non-existent. Thunderbirds, they've done very well. Yep, there you go. UW. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be great. Our fan base wasn't massive, but it was good, especially when Portland would come and rivals. As kids in junior, and when I played with him, because he's like, yeah, you know what, kind of weird for me to say, but like, I was your fan and I skated with you on the ice when you're in Seattle. It's like, wow, that's kind of crazy because you're a kid. Yeah. You're a kid and you're influencing other kids. And now I feel like, yeah, I think it's gonna do great. I think the concept of the name is cool. Got some massive names going in there. You hopefully model yourself after a Vegas type deal, but who knows? We'll see. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Wait, was that part of your game? Where did that come from?
Well, that's where do I start? Well, way back. I mean, the referees. I mean, you could go back and ask my old man. I get the temper from him. Kind of had it out for me, and I didn't help myself. I've always, when I learned how to hit, it was all I wanted to do. But leading is, I'd lose my cool on the refs, and it wasn't cool. Looking at it, it wasn't cool. But they knew who I was, so they'd call me. So it always kind of followed me around. Then when I got out to Seattle, it just came with the way I played. Like I tried to trim down the minor penalties and stuff like that. But I always, like I said, when I learned how to hit, it was my kind of first love, and photos and all the kids are scoring like, yes, goal. And mine was the picture of me. Okay, I just knocked this guy over, and that's the only videos I ever or pictures I have. Yeah. So.
You had some pretty good players out there in Seattle. The one question I want to have before I let Walks jump in is, what about in Minnesota? Because when you were, I know you only played 1 year of high school hockey, but you look at the next year after that, you rack up 204.
You're going to hit guys like that. It's going to come to you, for one. And so I kind of took that on board right away. We're like, okay, you know what? I've always enjoyed standing up for my friends and kind of taking that on, and even off the ice type thing. It's just kind of come naturally for me. And when I learned the concept of, okay, this is actually a tool to protect my teammates, create some space for myself, add another element, something they look at it in the draft, it was like, okay, well, it makes sense, right? It's a part of my game. And the first time I did it was I still remember what the guy said, you got to get in a fighting camp. So I pick a guy, and the guy has done nothing. I'm chasing him. Hey, we're going. No. We're going. No. we're going. Yeah, sorry about the language. We're going. And so finally he just has to kind of throttle this kid. He wasn't like the top in another team. He was just like whatever. And and this is where you're in camp and you have lunch with each other after. And this poor kid, sitting across from him, like, I'm sorry, like a black guy and stuff. And it just wasn't. It was like, okay. And then the guys grabbed me. Listen, all right, okay, all right, learn the rules. And like I said, it kind of came with it. And being someone to stand up and be the first one kind of in the mix was something I enjoyed doing. So that's kind of how I ended up with, you're 10 here and then, 35 minutes here or whatever. That's how I got up to 211.
Yeah.
So, Zach, I just want to kind of touch in, like, obviously you dropped the mitts quite a bit. Was there anybody that comes to mind that kind of helped show you what to do and kind of critique that aspect of your game?
Well, that's a good question. I would say in junior, I had a ton of really tough guys around us, and I wouldn't say you're very technical then. So you just throw, you take one to give one. But the guy that really kind of grabbed me, my first year pro was Rocky Thompson. And he's an absolute legend.
That was a good one.
Animal. Lucky to be on my team. Guy was fearless and everybody was scared of him. And he was absolute nails. I mean, especially with his left hand. I mean, he could hurt guys. He sees, okay, this is Fitzy's game. So he goes, Fitzy, you know what? Okay. We gotta meet up practice, and we're gonna practice some fighting. We're gonna punch. We're gonna, Rocky, anything you want, Rocky, let's do it. I'll be there. So we get in the middle of the locker room, and this wasn't really my teaching lesson. Okay, we were on the ice learning stuff, but we're in the room. He's like, "Okay, Fitzy, we're gonna put the gloves on. We're gonna box a little bit." And before I know it, wham, 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 my tooth is across the room. Like he has whacked me across the face. What does that do to me? I'm pissed now. I just want to hit this guy back. And he's, Rocky can box. I'm just like, okay, now I'm just fired up. I can't even think, right? And that was a little lesson I think he was giving me. Hey, look, you're going to have to find some control here. But he was throwing real punches and popping me.
Yeah.
And, that's where one or two of these are on the floor. He mentored me with the way to handle it, the physicality, and I watched him as a leader. And you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but no, I was able to reach out to him last year, get successful coach. For that guy.
Yeah, I got a really good daughter. There's a hell of a hockey player out there in the U.S. So shout out to her. She's a hell of a freaking player, man. She takes after her dad. You had a couple guys in the team there. He had Brooks Lake, and wasn't the best player on the team, but Nate Thompson, who's made a hell of a career of his, themselves. There's a lot of guys in between there. Did you see Nate? Brooks, I think, was a little bit of a lock. But did you see Nate holding on as long as he has there in the NHL?
I think Nate's always had it. You know what? It's funny. He was my roommate in our 16, 17-year-old year in junior. Another American kid, Alaska. We used to go up there and spend time with him. But you could always see, I think his role has changed a ton. And being able to adapt and to be in the game this long. Do I think? Yeah, I think he should be in the game this long. Did I imagine it? I don't know. It's crazy to see how many guys trickle off. And even, in my position when I was, 20, 21, 22, you think, okay, you got the world, and then the reality sets in and you realize how small of a margin it really is. But I feel bad that I hadn't caught up with him and known some of his mental, but his struggles. He's doing well, and it's great. And you know what? He's showing it on the ice and staying in the game. Like, he got hurt, got right back into the lineup a couple weeks back, and so great. You're right, Brooks Lake. Actually, Brooks Lake. He used to call me what did he call me? Fitzy Bear or something like that. Because I was, anyway, because I'd be one way on the ice and one way off the ice. Well, Mr. Brooks Lake is responsible for the first lost tooth at 16 years old.
Oh no!
In practice, coming around the net, he tried to lift my stick or something, came up under my my shoulder, right tooth. 16 years old. I'm looking in that. I got duck lipped all here. I'm like, trying to suck on a McDonald's milkshake, and it's coming down. But that guy, he no one could have felt worse than Brooks. Like, what a guy.
He's doing pretty well in the social media world now, and following along and his fitness and all that stuff. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Was he always a fitness buff like that you knew of?
You know what? I think thinking back on it, it seemed like he lived a pretty healthy lifestyle in junior. But you know what? If I could grab a hold of it, and I am grabbing hold of some of these young kids now to get on it young and learn the real ways to be nutritious and healthy. I think he was on that. I think he had that secret going. And he's from just a tiny little town. And he's just such a good, humble human. He's such a good guy.
No, and just want to quickly touch, Zach, that let's talk about your first pro experience. You played 4 years in in Seattle. Great city, great town. I want to go back to that later, but just talk about your draft process. I mean, obviously, like you said, you were the tough guy. You were, you know what I mean. It's not a lot of tough guys get drafted in the NHL. So talk about that process and teams that sat down with you. Maybe some of the conversations you had with a few of the GMs.
Yeah, that was exciting. A season, my 17-year-old year, we had a great team. Well, we had, like you said, we had Brooks Lake, Nate Thompson, Matthew Spiller, Tomas Mojis, a couple of guys that went on to play pro. Really good year. So I was fortunate to have a good team around me, which helped with my personal progress. But what I always liked to take pride in, carrying around the tough guy title was being able to play the game well and being an asset, and just that being my bonus, and it worked out well, and I was fortunate. I think we made the 3rd round of playoffs out here. Kind of stay in the ranking. You got your agent kind of talking to you and keeping you in a loop. And I was my parents weren't able to make it, but we went down to that was an experience in itself. I had a ton of interviews. Those are very intimidating. I mean, you're literally in a board meeting with 20 guys that are, kind of like looking at you, like sniffing you out, what's this guy, what's he really mean, and it was, I think I was pretty happy with a lot of my interviews. I think it was 8 or 9 teams. St. Louis didn't even interview me there. But Mike Antonovich is a guy that's from northern Minnesota. He's scouted a ton of guys out of northern Minnesota, and he was most likely responsible for my, at least linked to those guys. A ton of the scouts and stuff were always around. But yeah, no, it was quite cool to be drafted to St. Louis, one of the original teams, and ton of history, some really big names, and to go down there was quite cool. Quinville was the head coach at the time, and I was just, okay, this is my guy. It's my guy. First 2 seasons with St. Louis was an experience, but overall, long story short, the draft was great. My grandparents were able to be there. some really cool players. I mean, some that 04 or that draft was stacked. The 85. There's still a ton of guys that are playing.
Yep. I say the 85 draft is still the best draft that ever came out of it so far.
Yeah, I just had to say that so you guys would say that out loud.
Absolutely. I played 85. I had a chance. I was playing double. I was killing it.
Yeah, no, so that was quite cool. And going back to junior fights, there was a guy, Paul Brown, who was down there. I think he got picked by Nashville or something in the 4th round. But we ended up getting the fake IDs, and I don't know if we can even say any of that stuff on here. But
yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yeah, so
that's what we live for.
Okay, cool. Well, Patrick O'Sullivan standing there on the corner with a stack of, 6, 7, 100, like three, like he hit a stack of IDs. And it's funny, I have an Ontario. I think I might still have it somewhere, but I had an Ontario ID, some random guy, and I used it for years. But yeah, he handed that out. Happy days. We're walking around Nashville. Like, I don't know how these guys, maybe they just didn't care and loved it, but 18-year-old kids just flooding the streets, I just making a fool. And I'm sitting there with Paul Brown, a guy that, if you actually go back, fed me a lot of punches. Very accurate, just right in here. But we sat and chatted for a while, some shots, and just kind of reminisced about where we were at that time. And that's something I'll always remember, because I didn't know a ton of guys there, but, it was cool to sit down with a guy like that. Who I had a ton of respect for, which is kind of something that later on in pro years we did with a few other guys, guys that you'd scrap with, you'd have a beer and BS and all that. But yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, go ahead, Styles.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to say one thing quick, Findsy. Count Buffalo out. They just lost an OT.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
no, they didn't.
Or 3 OT.
But update, they were up 3-0, and they lost in overtime. So the shit continues. Oh my!
And the Leafs lost 3-2 in OT. But
that's all right. We got a point.
So you get called up for your first game. What were the feelings like? And when you first walk into the arena, who do you first see, and what do they say to you?
Oh boy, that's okay. Well, all right. Well, this one's kind of a story.
Yeah, if you can remember.
We love. Oh yeah, that's what. Again, we listen.
The names are gonna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whatever you can remember.
The names won't be great, but okay. I'll try to tell it quick.
Yep.
We're in Manitoba, and we're on our way back to Peoria. I've just been traded from St. Louis to Vancouver over the summer. I got a good preseason with Vancouver. Really excited about the whole experience. Every guy in there, kind of like apples and oranges. When I was in St. Louis, it was kind of weird. All the older veteran guys, they were kind of quiet, didn't really accept the younger guys. It was quite weird. Vancouver, polar opposite. Walking, hey Fitzy, how you doing? I'm like, this guy doesn't know me.
Really?
Hey, what's going on? Wait a minute. The ex is coming up to me. Hey Fitzy, how you doing? Welcome, buddy. How you doing? Mr. Bieksa, how you doing, sir? Thank you. Anyway, so now we're back into the American League season and going back to Peoria, and I'm just like chomping at the bit. I want to go back, show St. Louis what they're missing, right? They've traded me away. Hey, this is what you're missing, guys. Okay, so we're on the plane, land in St. Louis, Chicago, and we're at the airport, and Scott O'Neill goes, Fitzy, come over here. I'm like, oh, what did we do? Trying to rack my brain. What could he possibly need to talk to me about here at the airport? Fitzy, just want to let you know, congratulations. We're going to leave you here. You're going up to meet with the team in Dallas, and you're going to play tomorrow. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, congratulations. Grab your gear, blah, blah. He was very professional about it. Ton of respect for that guy. So now I'm like trying to hold it in. I'm like want to tell everybody, but at the same time, all these guys want this opportunity, so they want to be that guy. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. But so they leave me behind, and it's on the way to Peoria. So I'm already like, check one. This is great. This is a great start to me. My big FU to this team. Anyway, leave me in Chicago. Can't sleep a wink. Get up next morning after my haze of 30, 45 minutes, whatever. Fortunately, wake up. Get my base together, get in the airport, flights, everything, checks in, everything's fine. Get down to Dallas, land. standing there waiting. I'm contacting, I forget who the contact was. Contacting, hey, yeah, don't worry, the driver's out there. I'll be ready. Okay, just waiting for my bags. It shouldn't be long. Can't wait. Waiting. Okay, my little luggage bag has come. Waiting. Where's my hockey bag? Okay, I'm gonna go over the oversized. You guys got a hockey bag? No, sorry, man. Don't got anything. Got some hockey sticks here, though. Here, you got some hockey sticks. All right. Oh, nice. There's my sticks. Cool. Hockey bag, though. You guys got a hockey bag? No, sorry, sir. Are you sure? Like, please, do you have my hockey bag? No, we don't. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the number. Blah, blah, blah. Contact us. We'll let you know. So I contact these guys. Hey, I'm here, but I don't have my gear. So what do we do? Hey, don't worry. Come on, we'll get you. Go back to the rink, get pregame, take a nap, blah, blah, we'll sort it out. Don't worry. So I go back to they've already done pregame skate. They're literally finishing up pregame meal. I come and I eat the scraps of the filet mignon and the salmon and all the, I'm
Nice. Nice.
no, it was a crazy, I'm only joking, but it is actually, they treat players very well. But yeah, so I eat quick, try to nap. Okay, now I'm just worried. I'm texting family. I got, I'm here, Dad, I'm here, but my gear's not here. Don't worry, blah, blah. Anyway, get to the rink, show up. Gear's not here, Fitz. Don't worry. It's all right. We'll put something together. So Krejci was actually injured. So they put together bits and pieces, all these guys' gear. My sticks were there, fortunately, but I wore Krejci's skates. And I assume all his gear, but I like a nice stiff skate. This guy's skates were they were bending over. It looked like cankles. Anyway, I'm skating around and warm up, and I'm not sure. I'm like 6, 7 D at this point. I'm kind of, got somebody else's gear on. I'm skating around warm up. I'm like, what's going on here? And Weaver skates by me and goes, hey, get ready, you're in. I'm like, okay, kind of clicks in. Okay, I'm actually playing in an NHL game. And from there, it was kind of a blur.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was super fortunate. I'm so glad names are clicking right now. I had Rick Bonus on the bench for me as a D coach, and he just kept throwing me out there. Fitz, boards, Fitz, BXO, whatever. You sure, man? Like, this is awesome. This is unbelievable. I mean, it was the easiest game I've ever played because when you're in that position, those guys are so good. You can literally throw a blind and they're going to just catch it on their tape, right? So we're playing and it's awesome. I got it to shoot on Turco. And the main thing I have to tell everybody is I slashed Mike Modano in the shin pads, just to say I slashed Mike Modano in the shin pads in a game because, he was that's who I watched North Stars. Absolutely. That's who I grew up watching. And so it was pretty cool to play against him. And, I was fortunate to play with guys like Marcus Naslund and Trevor Linden, Luongo, Bieksa, all those guys. And actually, who was in that game? And this name may or not ring a bell, but he was a first rounder to Vancouver. Luc Bourdon, the player who passed away in the motorcycle accident.
Yeah. Holy.
And I can't remember if Ripper was there. I don't think Ripper was in that game, but Rick Rippon was a good buddy.
Yeah, another one, rest in peace.
Yeah. So that was, not to bring it down, but nope. It was pretty cool to have those guys on the ice and then to call my parents after. And the best thing was my Pee Wee coach, David Letourneau, was always a great guy, family friend, had them over, took out the nice bottle of whiskey, put it on. There wasn't enough time for them to get down there. So he put it on the big screen and, kind of brought out the popcorn, the whiskey or whatever. And calling them after was probably the best part.
That's awesome.
What?
Yeah, so something.
What? You said you were playing in Peoria there for a bit. I went to school there for 4 years.
Okay.
What was your take on the city and kind of what'd you do around the city with your time off?
Peoria.
Boy, we didn't do a lot in Peoria. What's the name? What was the name of that? Cruisins?
Cruisins, yeah.
Yep.
Walker's home away from home.
Yeah. Well, my first literal, and this is not going to paint a good picture, but literally my first memory of Peoria was pulling into the hotel, looking out the window and seeing a guy marching down the street with a pitchfork. I'm like, this is kind of weird in the middle of the street or in the middle of downtown, but that does not paint Peoria in a good picture. Peoria, let's see, the main street. I can't remember. Like it was.
Yeah.
We were young enough to enjoy the time with those guys, and it was a decent place to play. Like as well as travel and stuff like that. It was good, but yeah, I can't say I have a ton of awesome memories about Peoria. Sorry to say.
You're going to have to talk about maybe Walker will refresh your memory. I'm sure it sounds like he did more drinking than schooling. So sorry.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had a damn pretty good career, man. I mean, you played all those years in the AHL. Unfortunately, never got back up. But you know what? I don't think you traded really for anything.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, it was. You know what? I'm fortunate to be on this side of it for the most part, fairly unscathed. But I had a great time. Actually, besides that game, the most fun I ever had playing as a pro was just down the street in Hamilton.
I was gonna ask you for the Hammer for
the Hammer Town.
Yeah.
You know what? I loved playing there, and then we got to do the outdoor game against the Marlies, and that was just such a beautiful day. And touching back on growing up playing on the outdoor rinks, it was just the best experience ever playing professionally outside. And I'm sure you guys have seen the fight circulating because it just seems to pop up every year. But Kelsey Wilson and I kind of skate by each other, and we're all kind of going by, and I'm like, "Hey, Wilson, it's a good night for a fight. Everybody's watching, nationally televised." You know, just like, yeah. He's like, yeah. For both of us. I mean, you know, at that time wasn't a ton of outdoor games, and there was like no AHL outdoor games. So scouts were watching, and we got pumped, but it was a good scrap.
Yeah. I'll talk about talking about scrap, and like if you just put Zack Fitzgerald into YouTube, you have your own page. Like it is ridiculous. Like you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and things still keep popping up. It's just absolutely wild.
I need to figure out how to get involved in that because I can capitalize on that. Can't you the YouTube stuff? No.
Well, you got you got your hockey fights and K's all over.
I mean,
you got your name. Your name's on all of them. You got a
couple of these there.
Gagnon. I love
nails.
Matt Nickerson. Yeah, Nickerson. Oh my God, it just keeps on going. I can't name them all.
It'll be good for the boyfriends for my daughter soon. You know,
gonna have a Bad Boys 2 moment at the front door.
Yeah. At that point in time, we'll have holograms, and I'll just have a hologram right at the front to step.
So who'd you really enjoy as a coach when you were playing in the AHL through those years?
Scudder Neal is definitely a huge influence on my career. He was really good for me, and he gave me a really good opportunity as the head coach there. And boy, Rick Bowness, like I didn't have a lot of time with him, but even in the preseason and everything like that, he was quite good for me.
Anybody drive you absolutely nuts?
Yeah. And gosh, I'm blanking his name now. But God, it's going to be quite funny if he ever hears this. But he played with my brother, and gosh, I'm blanking his name. Basigio, maybe. Or something. Anyway, I'll have to look. He was my coach in Peoria. Peoria.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There it is. Well, he played with my brother, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if my brother ticked him off or what. But this guy, and it's just me making up my own story, but he just had it out for me, and it didn't seem like I just got opportunities with him. And it just like, it was quite early in my pro career when you think, oh yeah, I got I should be getting a chance. I'm a pro. I signed a pro contract. Well, yeah, there's, a ton of guys on each team that are doing that. They're stacking up on top of each other. And that it is what it is. Ended up, he was like kind of nice to my face, and I ended up running into him later. He was scouting or something, and at that point I had played my NHL game, and he was complimentary, so that was nice. But yeah, nobody that really I hated. There was nobody that I really hated, but there was a few coaches that I played with who like had quite big names that just couldn't get the buy-in. And yeah, but you know, a lot of thank you, Brain, for clicking. AD, Jeff Daniels, and Albany, and Jordy Kinnear. Jordy Kinnear was very massive in my career. We were very similar players. He gave me a ton of opportunities in Albany. I played a ton there. I think I had maybe an opportunity with Carolina at some point in there, but you know, there's a ton of guys that have opportunities too. So I didn't get my break, and it is what it is. But along the way, those guys were good for me. And I actually talked to Jordy and JD just recently. JD is an assistant coach in Carolina, and Jordy Kinnear is a head coach in the American League now. He's moved up from assistant coach to head coach. And actually, Dean Chenoth, my coach in junior, he's an assistant in Carolina now too. Those guys are all really instrumental in my career, I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah, Kinnear is actually from like 15 minutes away from me in Walker.
Yeah, Norfolk County boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delhi.
Yep.
Oh, world boys.
Close, small world. Zach, so yeah, after AHL a little bit, what made you decide to pack up and go overseas and go over and play in England?
Absolute legend over there. Legend.
Let's get into it.
UK fans are very active on social media, so you guys might find some UK watchers or listeners coming on. So,
nice.
Yeah, I guess realistically, after 9 seasons and not moving on to the next level, and some guys are fortunate enough to stay longer and then maybe get a chance after, or make some really good money in the American League, and are huge pieces to the puzzle, leaders, mentors. A guy like that I think of right now is Richard Clune, who I literally lived across the street from at the moment, but that guy has been through a ton, and fortunate for him, he's still got a great career. He's a leader and the captain now. You know, but for me, it was at the point where I was with Adirondack. I was playing like 6-7D, and then like fourth line forward, and then like kind of getting healthy here and there. And it just, you know, at that time it was like, it's mentally, and you have to be tough through that, because if you're sitting out of games, you're getting healthy, but the coach is saying, "Oh, we want you in," and this, and there's a lot of mind games. And then you're wondering, well, if the coach is saying I should be in, why am I not in? But you realize, look, you're 28, you're in the American League, which is a young man's league. You got young men signing entry levels coming in left, right, and center, and they're going to get the looks. They're on entry level contracts. Teams aren't going to spend money on two ways or bonuses or to not get good looks. So you eventually just kind of get shuffled down. And, you know, it was that time for me to explore another bonus of being a professional hockey player and able to kind of go overseas. And the initial plan was like maybe more like I got an offer from Austria, and I still want to stay in the American League, and then that kind of went away. We tried to get into the KHL, the VHL things. It wasn't happening. So I got a good offer in the UK from Ryan Finnerty in Glasgow in Scotland. And I'm like, okay, all right. As Findsy can attest with his nice whiskey, it's a great destination. And you don't quite think that it's a hockey destination, but you know, you start researching a little bit more. That the league, when I went over there, was, I would say, kind of an East Coast league level. But at the point in time now, it's a lower level AHL team competing for championships in the East Coast type league, if you had to compare. So I went over to the UK. It was a great experience. We were in Glasgow. I wanted to go back. I tried my best to get back. I'm not quite sure the reason. Ended up going to Sheffield. The coach there was very adamant about getting me over there, and we said, you know, let's go for it. They're kind of one of the long story short, when you break down the league, you got 10 teams. There's a couple that have bigger budgets, and realistically they do. So Sheffield is one of those teams. So when you go to there from Glasgow, people are pretty pissed off. And my social media, if you go back in 2015, my social media is not a pretty place. And when they would come down and watch me in Sheffield, or we go up there, boy, they hated me. But it's a rivalry thing, like football hooligan type stuff. Not as crazy, but they are very passionate about their teams. They welcomed me back when I went back eventually and played, and that was all fine. But it was a good experience. You go over there and you check out the castles. You go to the pubs. You got the beer in the locker room after. It's just a whole nother realm. Yeah. I had the beer, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, we are trying to sneak these things on the bus in America. Like, what's going on here? You know?
Here they're giving them to you. Yeah, Casey,
that's right.
Onto the bus.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, no, it was a good experience. It was good hockey, and we had fun. Like, there's 3 trophies to win over there, so it's kind of cool to have a shot at some things. Even when you're a lower budget team, there's other opportunities for championships, so it's cool.
Did you ever end up winning championship or no?
I did, yeah. I was fortunate. So that my first year with Sheffield, we won the league. We were pretty close in playoffs. So there's 3 trophies. There's one called the Challenge Cup. It's like a mini tournament within the season. And there's one where you get full points on the league, like a football season or soccer season over there. There's a champion for that. That's the main goal, which makes the whole season exciting, because it's not just playoffs. It's the whole season's exciting because there's, back and forth. We won that. That was great. And then the playoffs is a little bit more like high school hockey. It's you got like a quarterfinal, semifinal, and then you get to the playoff weekend where it's play on the Friday night. The winner plays Saturday for the championship. The loser plays for the third place team.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's quite. I think letdown is too much of a word for it, but for a lot of the guys coming from Canada and over here, we're used to like the best of sevens. It's quite weird, but at the same time, you get into the league stuff, and playoffs is still cool. So I was fortunate. Long story short, I won the league, then we won playoffs, and then we didn't win anything my last year. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Nice.
Fitzy, I've kind of changed this question because a couple of the tough guys we've had on have always said, everybody they fight's tough. Who's kind of the guy? Who's kind of the guy you've dropped the gloves with, where you're like, I'm going to give it to him, and he's kind of surprised you with it?
Oh, that's a great question.
Spicing it up.
Box, yeah. Jesus.
You know who that was? Mitch Callahan. I don't know if he played much in the NHL, but he was with Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit's farm system. And I couldn't just size or anything, but he was a little bit smaller. And I always had trouble with, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what it is. I'd prefer to fight a bigger guy, even though they're probably going to hit me harder. The smaller guys seem to be just right inside me. And anyway, Mitch Callahan, he caught me with a few. I just could. It always pissed me off. But you got to give him credit. The guy did a good job. And then actually another guy who caught me well was Blair Riley, who I ended up playing against in the UK for a while. And he wasn't necessarily even a guy that would drop him, but he is an absolute tank of a human, like a wide load, right? And I was getting riled up one game with Adirondack. Holmgren was in the house, and Hextall and all these guys. So I'm chasing in the corner. I'm going to crush somebody. So I light somebody up, and I'm skating back in your zone. Riley Charles, like, Fitzy, we're going. I'm like, yeah, we're going. And I stepped in, and he just went wham with a left right down Main Street, and poof, like, kind of like, oh, Jesus, criminy thing. Got to get back up when we fight. But it was like, whoa, wham, like left. He just right down Main Street, right in. I don't want to be laying on the ice in front of those guys,
Yeah.
That's awesome. What so now you're done your career. You've like you said, you put a hell of a career, and there's a lot of guys that would love to see the world with a with a hockey bag on their back. Now what's the plan for you? What are you looking to hope to accomplish here with the game of hockey? You're still involved, I know, working with kids and stuff, but do you have any plans coaching? Like what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was fortunate to take a great position last year, fresh out of playing. I was still actually looking to play last season, but Glasgow offered me the head coach and director of hockey position, and I was like, I have to do this. And it was an awesome experience. I really liked the management side of it. Recruiting the team was a ton of fun. So it was great to get a little taste of that. I think eventually someday maybe getting into more of that. But at the moment, coaching kids and working with skills and mentoring and teaching the game, where you realize how much they have to learn, and it's fun to kind of help them. So right now I'm kind of seeing a lot of benefits in staying coaching with amateur kids, helping them along the way, teaching them things I learned along my path. And, I was, being from Minnesota, I still went to major junior. So a lot of the kids around, the Toronto area, they are going through that experience. So at the moment, that's kind of the plan. That's the outlook. If something in the pro world came along, I always entertain things. I've really reached out to my network. And that's where like Jordy Kinnear and Jeff Daniels and Dean Schnoth and all those guys, where I talked to a lot of those guys within the last few months in the middle of a pandemic, which was quite a weird time to be pushing and trying to get on board with some coaching. I had a great experience with pro coaching. I know what that's like, but at the moment, coaching kids is way more rewarding. I think it's really fun to see their development in a short period of time. And it's kind of a weird time at the moment where a lot of kids are working more on skills because there's no team play. But I really enjoy working with younger kids and up to the pro level of in coaching. So I'll be in the game for a while still.
Perfect. Do you guys got anything you want to add before we get ready to rock here?
Well, I got just a topic I want to talk about. I know it's a little old now; it's a few days old, but the hot mic ref topic.
Yes, it does need to be talked about. Since you don't get along with refs, apparently, we need to discuss that. It's a good point.
Did you hear all about that, Zach?
I didn't hear verbatim what was said, but before I even hear anything, and yes, I didn't have a great relationship when I was a kid, but I made it a priority from major junior on to have a relationship with those guys. And I think I saw briefly what he said, and I might get myself in trouble and whatever. And this is probably good that I don't know exactly what he said, but a lot of times refs, and is he talking about making up the call? Is that what it is?
He was looking to give a call.
He basically gave him a call because he wanted to give him a call.
Yeah. So, okay. So that happens all the time in games, and you see it played out. I think sometimes maybe he got caught saying it to the wrong guy, where he was such a guy with his heart on his sleeve that instead of just keeping him to himself and going, yeah, whatever, man, I'm trying to make it work, he maybe was trying to make a player feel better.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Listen, I understand what you're saying. Like, if there's a chance, I'll take it. But, because I had a lot of dialogue with refs, and they understand that's the kind of the beauty of the game, is there's still a human element, and the referees are the ones that get it the hardest, but it's not an easy job, especially at that level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Do you think you should have been fired, though? Do you think you should have been fired, Walks and Styles?
It's such a hard situation, especially that he's retiring April 24th or whatever. Like, it's so weird. I think they're kind of really quick to jump the gun. Like, they did it so quick without even really, like, I don't know. I guess there's not really much to look into when it's plain whatever he said, but it's just, it is known that it happens all the time. Like, you hear it every game, every time the announcers talk or whatever. Like, oh, there's been 4 penalties against the Leafs. There's got to be one against Montreal coming soon or something like that, right? Like a makeup call. Like it happens all the time. It's just more or less, hot mic caught at the wrong time, saying the wrong thing. So they had to do something. I don't know if firing was necessary, but definitely maybe a fine. But I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you think, Vox?
I mean, today's age and how the world is currently working will go. I think he has to be fired. Maybe if it was a different
Cancel culture, man.
time. What's that?
Cancel culture.
Yeah. So, it's kind of like, I mean, I feel for him because he was done within a month and a half. And
I just hope he didn't lose a pension or anything like that, because when you get fired at a certain,
I doubt he did.
Right?
Man.
I hope he didn't either. Maybe,
I don't think he would have, because that's kind of undercover. No, not many people know about that, right? I think they wouldn't really say. I would sure hope not.
I got 3 words for you: single sports betting. That's why he got canned.
That's the thing, right? They're trying to make big things, with all the sports betting, like. That'll scare you away.
Here's something I want to ask actually Fitzy is, obviously over here in the NHL, they're betting and stuff like that. Like, what's the gambling like over in hockey? I don't even know. Like
in the UK?
Yeah, like they're pretty popular.
I would say it's massive in football and horses and stuff like that. But they do bet on hockey, and actually, it's a bit more popular in Europe, but in the UK they do. Some players even jump on that.
Oh. Insider info.
I never jumped on. I guess I've never really. I like blackjack, but I've never been a sports bettor.
No, well, you're gonna get your chance here when they change the legislation. That's for sure. What I want to know kind of what's your one favorite hockey memory that wasn't playing the game in the NHL. You probably have a lot, but one that maybe just sticks out. But it doesn't have to be a favorite. Just something that sticks out in your head.
Gosh, I guess.
You're gonna make them turn the brain. We might be here.
I should have some backed up for me, but that outdoor game obviously is a huge highlight for me. Boy, what would it have been? I'm trying to think, fellas.
Even not an on-ice event, an off-ice event, a meaning, maybe something the coach said to you, or something that stuck with you. That's a tough one. You think?
You know what? I've been pretty happy with myself so far tonight. Nailing names. You know what? Doing some things, and then I get a good question, and I just blow it.
Listen, there's Oprah, and then there's off the puck hockey. That's what type of that's the level.
I don't think she would ever have me.
Our interviews.
No, I think. Boy, you know what? I think playing in Seattle and having that experience and leaving home at a young age and just kind of not knowing what you're getting into and driving 26 hours and having no real idea, like, we all have dreams about playing NHL, but leaving home, go play junior with kind of a shot at playing pro, and then getting drafted was, in a nutshell, quite a cool experience coming back to Duluth with my St. Louis Blues jersey from my 18-year-old little buddies.
That is cool.
And who knows to say if I would have stayed in high school and went university or whatever, if that would have happened. But, leaving home and being able to come back and share that with them kind of made it worth it, because I still have contact with a lot of those guys, but a lot of relationships fizzle out, especially when you're a nomad. So I guess experiencing little things like the draft with my grandparents and then coming home with my buddies and family and kind of that summer was a good one.
Well, like I said, we're really excited that you came on, and before you go, we're gonna do a little Seattle rapid fire. We obviously coming from there. Yeah, a little Seattle rapid fire. They'll be real quick with this one. Did you ever go to Pike's Place?
Absolutely.
Yep. Did you ever buy anything from Pike's Place?
Yeah, my parents love this like spicy jelly or jam from I couldn't name the place, but it's literally just over from where they toss the fish.
Nice. You ever
Buy it, yes.
walk by?
You
It,
wouldn't.
never,
It's not.
it's not. It doesn't look like it. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not as great as you think it would be. Yeah.
No, it's really not.
Overrated.
It's extremely overrated. UW campus. You were saying you never went there, did you?
It was too dark, and I was in a big, huge house with blue lights and flashing lights and songs and older people, and I was very overwhelmed. No, we did go to a football game at UW, and then we got to see UW play at Questfield. I think it's where the Seahawks play.
Yep.
UW play at Questfield against or. Similar to like Philly and stuff, a lot of their venues are all just down on the water there. So you got Questfield and you got Safeco, and then I don't know where they're putting the new arena, but
the arena is Key Arena, and it's actually not on the water. It's up.
Are they building
it
it over Key?
Dude, listen, I'm going to quickly do it because we're going to be running out of time here. Right, currently, Key Arena is being held up by.
Oh, no. Come on.
No, dude, it's the roof. So here's what they did with it. If you know Key Arena, they're holding the roof up right now. 18,000 tons is being held up by cranes right now, and they're digging and they're burrowing. Nuts. It is the first subterranean arena in the world. And what it actually is really cool, what's really cool about it is that when Jeff Bezos signed on, because Amazon's going to be the prime.
Wow. No
here's the coolest part, though. They already had the gas lines underneath the rink, and he told them, I'm not sponsoring the rink unless you rip every gas line out, and this thing's going to be completely solar powered. So they went back down and completely ripped everything out.
That's
absolutely crazy. Yeah, absolutely nuts. So it's going to be really cool. And you know what? I'm hoping we go back there. They should probably put your jersey up in the band.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I think they should.
Well, Findsy, we're gonna have to have a party at your wife's in-laws there.
Oh, you got a place to stay. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. We'll have to all come down, make a little OTP party, and let's go.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Listen, we're really happy you were able to do this. I know you got a young family. Tell the people where they can find you, where they can get you on social, because they want to go back and look at your fights.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll try to find a way to get all those together someday on YouTube. I mean, I'm on the computer and I'll probably.
There's already a 36-minute montage of there. Somebody already made.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So you can find me on there. I'm not sure if all my favorites are on there, but I'll try to keep pumping them with likes to get my favorite ones up there. But I just every night I sit there and watch myself on YouTube.
It's gotta be someone from England, eh? You said those crazy fans.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, long story short. Like I said, social media is crazy. First thing. Because a lot of people interact with me on there, I'm happy to do that. You'll probably see some weird tweets about the stock market on there lately. So if you see that, just scroll through it.
Yeah, what are you doing? You be Zack the day trader? Is that what's going on?
No day trading stuff, and it's no GameStop, AMC, fuel. It's actually my wife is gonna shake her head when I start talking about this stuff. But yeah, no, it's just that's for another day.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm taking it up too, so we'll definitely talk about it. But thanks again to Zack Fitzgerald for joining us. Again, be sure to follow at ZFitz13 on Twitter. Make sure you're following at Factory Vic Park. Sign up for some of his private lessons, especially if you're a D-man. And if you want to learn how to kick the crowd. Mikey Walker, our producer, Matt Huddle behind the scenes, making the magic happen, and of course, Marty Zylstra for providing our theme music. This has been Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.